Good morning. Let's make sure that all the sound works here. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. I know these are dirty, filthy. Good morning. Feels like it has been absolutely forever since we've been here for a breakfast club. Ooh. Yes. So many screens to watch at once. How was everybody's evening? We finally got rain in La Plata. We did not get the rain that was gray and cloudy at the time of 5 o'clock live, but about 9 o'clock it pretty much poured. So, very grateful for the rain, which meant I didn't need to stand outside and water plants and be eaten alive by bugs last night. So, that is helpful. Greatly appreciated, Mother Nature. Oh, I would love some fresh basil, Miss Benny. Since I don't have time to garden as much as I want to garden, I will take whatever community garden wants to bring to me to enjoy. So I would love it. All right. Let's get started here this morning. And we're going to learn a little bit about where do embroidery designs go? Where is the right place to put a design on a shirt? Okay. Where is, the right size of design? How do I know it's straight? How do I get the item in the hoop? So this is what I'm going to chat about today in hopes of helping to take the stress off of you, because sometimes actually embroidering on a physical garment or a physical item that you purchased can be debilitating, okay? To think about actually having to put this design on something that you have to hoop. You've got one shot to get it right because, it's not the easiest thing in the world to take embroidery designs out, okay, to unstitch them. And even then, you do have some holes that are there that are harder to make disappear. So, spending that time testing and getting the right threads and everything is great when you do it on a flat piece of fabric. But if you don't get the design where it belongs, it can be bad, okay? Everything is different. These are just suggestions for you, okay? Especially in garments. It's all going to depend upon really who the person is going to be wearing it, okay? You always want it to be in a flattering location. So, I know you've probably bought things in the past that were embroidered and, it's smack dab right in the middle of a boob, or it's in your armpit and it just doesn't look right. So I highly suggest that if you are doing this for you or embroidering it for somebody, that you have them put it on and you kind of mark the appropriate location just so those things don't happen. If you are doing home decor for embroidery and things like that, you just want to make sure that every pillow is in the same place or every towel is in the same location just so that it should match the other units. There are some industry standards that are out there in terms of location, and there are a lot of tools to help you get your design where it needs to go. And so we're going to go over those this morning as well. All right. So first, let's talk about where it goes. And like I said, these are recommendations. They're not requirements. And design overrides the rules. Okay? So that means that if the design, if it tells you that it should be 4 inches down from the shoulder and 3 inches over from the side, and that doesn't fit where you want it to go, it's okay. Put it where it looks best on you or whoever is going to be wearing it, or based on, maybe you've got a band in your towel or something along that lines that, it's overall design trumps all. Okay. So I just found this little item on Pinterest here. Let me get my head out of the way. This morning, so and there was no credit as to who created them, but they are here for you. Remember that the PowerPoint presentation, the PDF, is up on our website under the YouTube tab, and then you can see the entire list of links to the video, the re-recorded videos, and the presentations that are there for you. So this just kind of gives you an idea. For example, let's look at a onesie. On a baby onesie, typically the design is going to be centered between 2 and 4 inches down from the neck, and centered basically from where the shoulder seams of the onesie come over. And that is going to differ on whether you're looking at a 24-month onesie or you're dealing with a newborn onesie. You also have to take into account size, okay? Overall size of the design. If you've got a newborn onesie, a design that is a 5-inch square is pretty much going to cover that newborn from neck to belly button, okay? It's going to be really, really big, but that design, same design on a 24-month onesie, may not be quite as large scale. So you also want to make sure that you find the right design with the right proportion of the item that it is going onto, okay? You also don't want to embroider a little tiny 1-inch square design in an area that is massive. Bibs, and then we have kid sizes in terms of all different sizes of shirts and pajama tops or button-down shirts. And then you have robes, and then, not to leave other people out, we've also got charts for, which my head is in the middle of at the moment, women and men's. So again, these are just recommendations. They're not the rule for the most part, but I do highly suggest that if you have the ability to put the garment on the person you're embroidering it for, I really, really highly suggest doing that, just to make sure that you can truly find where it sits the best on that particular individual. And when you're doing that, not only putting the garment on the person, but if you have a template of your design so that you can also pin it in place, that will be perfect as well. Okay, so we're going to talk about those templates. We're going to talk about things or aids that are out there to help you get things positioned at where they go, and then I'm going to give you a brief overview of pinpoint placement. I'm going to try to walk you through the 2 pinpoint placements. Pinpoint placement is an embroidery hooping alignment technique on certain Bernina machines. Okay, so just a reminder of that. So design templates, what is it? So it's basically a printed picture of your design, okay? The template is going to tell you or show you visually how big the actual design is, okay? I could tell you the design is 3 inches across and 6 inches tall, but visually, you may not know really what size it is, especially when you come to looking at, trying to put it on a towel or something. Is it too big? Is it too small? Is it going to fit above the pocket? So printing out a design template is going to be helpful for you to get the visual of the size. Design templates are also going to show you where the center of the design is, okay, as well as the orientation of the design. Meaning, how is it situated in the hoop in terms of, do you need to hoop your garment sideways because the top of the design is at the side of the hoop, or is the top of the design at the top of the hoop? That type of thing. So, and it just gives you a visual image, especially if you're going to be grouping a bunch of designs together, things like that. If you're going to multi-hoop, or for example, if you're quilting in the hoop, you will be able to align or mark where your beginning and ends are on the actual design and that type of thing. Okay. All right. So, all right, templates sound great, Amy. Where do I get them? Okay. Give me 1 second here. Let me change screens. All right. So templates can be found typically inside of embroidery software. Some sort of software that you can open embroidery designs, okay? You know, if you double click on an embroidery design, it's not going to open Word or PowerPoint. It's going to look for a program that can specifically read that extension, okay? There are lots of options of embroidery design software out there. For the most part, there's lots, okay? And there are different levels in terms of what you can do within those softwares. If you are the type of embroiderer that pretty much opens the designs, uses it the way they are, maybe do a little rotation, bigger, smaller, that type of thing. Or for those of you that do more of that type of embroidery where you want to be able to, thank you, Mom. Be able to, can you do me one more thing? 1 second. In that Alex cabinet over there, the bottom drawer is my hoop templates. Thanks. I forgot to grab them. I thought I had everything. So Artlink. Artlink is a free set of software that allows you to be able to, just plastic, doesn't matter what hoop, I don't care. It allows you to open embroidery files. Thank you. Okay. It allows you to open multiple different formats of embroidery files. So just because this is Bernina software, okay, it's Bernina Artlink, doesn't mean that you can't open a PES file. Okay. So you can use the software to open a design, and it's basic. So you can use it to make designs bigger, smaller, rotate, along that line's mirror image, and then you can use it to print, okay, designs. In the PDF, you can pull up the presentation. You can click on these links. These links will take you right where you need to go in order to be able to find Artlink to download. Now, if you don't want to pull up the presentation or the PDF, you can go to Bernina.com, okay? At Bernina.com, you can click up in the top. There is a little magnifying glass up here at the top. Let me see if I can get it to, there we go. You have your little web search. Up here, you can click that, and then in the box type Artlink, and then click send, and then use the very first result is going to give you Artlink 8. Okay, so let me, there we go. Bernina Artlink Embroidery Software 8. And if you click on that, it will then take you to the Artlink, and you can read about it, but you can then also click right here to download it for free. Okay, so that is going to allow you to print in templates. Okay. There are, and I'll show you in a minute, I'll open up I'll open up the software here in 1 second and answer Miss Christie's question and answer Miss Sandy's question as well. Jeff is a little iffy, but I'll show you what the formats can open. So there are higher levels of software available. Okay, there are two options that we have. We have Toolbox, and we also have Bernina Embroidery Software Designer. Depending on what you're looking for, the Designer software is going to give you options of being able to digitize. And what digitizing is taking drawn artwork with, like, you know, either computer graphics or pens and pencils and digitizing them or giving them embroidery stitches. Okay. So plus there's a lot more than that can do, but that's really the main thing. And then the Toolbox level of software is going to allow you to buy different portions. So if you just want more lettering and more, or want to be able to monogram, you can just buy certain portions. The other main difference between these two levels is Toolbox can be used on a Mac. Okay, Bernina Embroidery Software 8 does not work on a Mac. Okay, it'll work, here's the caveat, it will work on an older Mac using Boot Camp. Okay, the newer Mac computers, the chip that's in the newer Mac computer, from what I'm understanding, doesn't run Boot Camp or doesn't work with Boot Camp, or there's something, but software doesn't work. Version 8 software is not working on a Mac with Boot Camp if it's like a brand new Mac bought today, from what I understand. I'm not a Mac user. Both of these softwares also have free trials as well. So again, if you go to Bernina.com and you either click on software or you just type in Toolbox or embroidery software, it will bring you, and you have the ability to download these programs, okay, for 30 days and use them, okay, and give them a try. You know, kind of a try before you buy type option. So let's take a look here real fast at Artlink so that I can show you how to pull up a design and print, okay? So in terms of formats, okay, the Artlink, it's going to be hard because the software doesn't show the secondary windows. Unfortunately, the Facebook Live producer won't show the secondary dialog boxes from inside software. But yes, this Bernina software will open Art, Jeff Plus, So, PES, PCS, VP3, VIP, SHV, HUS, all of the FOF formats, which is PCS, PCB, PCQ, PCM, Singer, which is XXX, Melco, which is EXP, and Tajima, which is the commercial brand format DST, is in there as well. So they're going to allow you to open all those design formats and also convert them to the format in which you need to use for your machine. So if you find a design that only is in another format and your machine only reads EXP, you can use that. You would do a file open your design, and up it will pop, okay? It's going to give you, basically, you have size information. So this design is just around 4x4. We can, make it bigger. We can make it smaller. We can look at thread color information. We can rotate, do all sorts of things. Okay. Now, when we go to look at a print preview, so your print preview is going to come up, and the default for the first time, for the most part, when you use it, is going to give you 2 pages. Okay, here is your design showing you with the hoop template attached over top of it, the design information, color information, and approximate runtime on the machine. You do have in the options box, which again is not going to show up here, and I'm going to try to quickly find this, but you have some print options that are available, and you can come in here and you can uncheck some things, add some things, that type of stuff, and print. So yes, there is options to be able to only print the color information. We can also print stitches, outlines, things along that lines. completely up to you as to how much you want to be printing or what you want printed. You can zoom in, you can zoom out, that type of thing. Let me see if I can get, there we go. So Christy, you said you were having problems with 2 pages. So make sure in the options, when you click options, uncheck design information. I know you can't see it here, but there is an up here at options, that second dialog box is going to pick up, and you can uncheck design information. That design information is going to remove that second sheet of paper that has all your color information and size. Okay, make sure that that is unchecked. You also want to make sure that when you do print this, that you print this at an actual size. So you want to make sure that you print this at actual size, because if you're using this to mark your size and in location on your design, you obviously need it to be the right size. Okay, so that is a little bit of that. So let me pull up something else here. Okay, so this is a template. Yes, you can use Toolbox to print your templates the same way. You would just open the design and do file print, okay? And the same way that I just opened a design and printed in Artlink is the way that you would print a template in version 8. Okay, so just open the design, go to file print or file print preview, and print. Okay, so when you look at a template, depending upon how you do it, typically we have some green lines that are marked with an S, and we have some red lines that are marked with an E. And where those lines intersect is the start and the end of the design. Now on this particular design, it starts and ends in dead center. Okay, you can also see that I have the orientation of the design is that this is technically the top, okay, of the design. And so this, where these crosshairs intersected, would be my center. So for me, when I'm going to go to use these, I'm going to cut them out. Okay. You know, it doesn't have, I'm not going to be doing it on a line or anything. I'm just going to cut them out so that they're a little bit smaller and I'm dealing with, you know, less of paper. Okay. So I have this, and if I had an item, you know, that I was going to put it on, this, I could, you know, place it where I wanted to put it and see if it was the right size, you know, if would this fit, like if I was wanting to do it up on the shoulder, this is obviously too big in the format, or if can I rotate the design and still get it to fit, like if I rotated it. And then I know that when I go to hoop, because of the orientation of this arrow, this is where the top of my hoop would need to be. Okay, so for example, I would need to hoop like this, or you could hoop like this and rotate your design to fit. Now, to be able to mark where this needs to go, what I do is I fold my template, and I'm going to snip in the center here, and then I'm going to fold my template the other direction and snip in center here. Okay, and then I'm going to take 2 opposite corners and fold them back. Okay, this way I can very carefully let me get a marker. I can carefully bring a marker in here and mark a little crosshair. Once I have the little one marked, I can move my template and I can use a ruler and mark the lines bigger than that. Okay, so that's templates. Okay, it can be printed in any software out there in the world. and that type of thing. The other thing is you can also use stable stick tearaway template sheets. Okay, these template sheets are cut into 8.5 by 11 pieces for you. They can run through an inkjet or a laser printer. Okay, and we basically can do exactly what I just did here. Okay, except we can peel off the back and it will stick to your item. Okay, that way you can really, especially if you're trying to position a bunch of items. So for example, like in that shirt that was just showing, this here was 6 or 7 designs, okay, that were done, and we auditioned where we wanted them to go, the layout that we wanted, all by using templates. Okay, so this is a piece of 8.5 by 11 template sheet, loaded on the printer, printed on the paper side of it, not the shiny side, but the paper side. And then I could cut this out and I could stick this wherever I wanted. Okay, peel the paper off, and this is sticky. Okay, I could adhere it, and then I could hoop and use it exactly the way that I need for my project. Okay, all right, let's go back here. So once you have your template in place, whether you're using the sticky template sheets or you're using the index paper template sheets that you've kind of pinned or taped or marked, you will get your item hooped, keep your template where it was and where it is, don't move it until you have your design positioned. You're going to use the features on your machine to move the design left, right, up, down, or rotate so that you can get the needle to align with center. Okay, so we always check to make sure that center goes to center. Okay, and then once you have everything aligned the way that it is, then you want to remove the template. Okay, don't embroider through the template. Okay, unless of course you're using wash away stabilizer and then it's going to wash away later. But I would just peel the template off once you are finished with using it for alignment. Okay, now there are lots of things out there to help you position. Okay, and lots of tools and gadgets. I've pretty much have probably used them all at some point in my life. The Embroiders Helper, that's this little guy right here. He is designed to help you get the alignment or the location of a design on the center front of a shirt, okay, or on the left chest or right chest of a shirt. So if you don't want to break out a ruler and have to remember, the Embroiders Helper is there. Perfect placement templates. Okay, I think we still have some children's size ones around here in the store. They're basically clear templates that are printed with the general shape of a onesie in different sizes. And then there is a hole cut out in the appropriate location that you can place a sticker. And then once you place the sticker, you can remove the template and the perfect placement template and then hoop your item. So it again is designed to help you just figure out where on that napkin this should go without you having to pull out a ruler or anything along that lines. There are alignment lasers. That's this little guy right here. Alignment lasers basically sit on the table. You put your hoop underneath of it, and it basically projects a centering crosshair down onto the table, and then you can use that to help position and hoop. This for me, I don't know. if I wasn't able to mark or iron on an item to get a location, then the alignment lasers would come in handy. But I have other techniques that I use. Centering rulers. Okay, again, just a ruler that's measured from left to right and top to bottom, basically in and out, so that you can make sure that you're centered within something. So, for example, like in this, you can use the centering rulers to make sure that you are truly in the center of that pink star. Okay, you would be the same distance from left to right. Okay. A master hooping station, which I will show you here in just a minute, is a great tool to hold your hoop in place for you, because a lot of times we have a tendency to chase that hoop around the table, okay? Especially when we're trying to hoop a big item, okay? Think sweatshirts, t-shirts, towels, things like that. I mean, how many times have you gone to push down in your hoop and the hoop goes sliding across the table, okay? So a master hooper is, you buy them based on your machine, because this bracket that's on the side coordinates, excuse me, with the clamp of your embroidery hoops, okay? And every machine company has a different way of attaching. This one is designed for using with the maxi and up to the jumbo hoop, so I can use it with all my Bernina hoops, small, medium, large, oval, mega, maxi, jumbo, okay? This cutout here is designed when you're using smaller hoops so that you can get to your thumb screw, okay? But basically, it's you clamp your hoop to this bracket, okay, and it's going to hold this ring in place for you. It's a piece of Corian countertop is what this is, and then you can hoop and press without that moving on you, because a lot of times with this moving, it's going to cause you to not be able to hoop exactly in place, okay? So that is a master hooper. Okay. Centering crosshairs. I'm gonna walk you through the centering crosshairs, which is actually a Kimberbell thing, but you can use it for anything to help, especially if you are floating an item. So if you're planning to put stabilizer in the hoop and then lay your item on top of the stabilizer, the centering crosshairs are very helpful. Excuse me, I need to stop and breathe. And then we're going to talk about, I'm going to kind of introduce clear blue tiles. Some of you that may have gotten a Kimberbell Bella box have one in your possession already and may be looking at it like, I have no idea what this is for. But I'm going to try to give you a quick little introduction. First up, though, is centering crosshairs. The centering crosshair design, it is basically a 4x4 design that can be used in any size hoop, okay? It is, you will find the centering crosshairs, if you've been doing any of the fill-in-the-blank designs from Kimberbell, you'll find the centering crosshairs design on that, any of those collections. A lot of her recent collections, especially if you have a collection that was designed for the onesies or the zipper bags, you'll find the 4x4 centering crosshairs. I suggest taking that design and saving it to your machine, okay? Because you're going to use it a lot. We use it here all the time. Basically, we pull that design up, and on the machine, we are going to put stabilizer in the hoop, remove the paper from the sticky side of the stabilizer so the adhesive is exposed, and you're going to run the crosshair design directly into the stabilizer. And it's going to stitch that crosshair. You will take your item, for here example a towel, and you're going to fold and find the crosshairs or the middle of where you want this design to go. So for example, we folded this towel in half, and we creased it, and then we folded up a few inches from the bottom edge and creased it. So if I unfolded this, I would have an ironed crosshair, right? Once we have that ironed and marked, then I can take that over to my hoop. I'm going to align the vertical folded edge with the vertical crosshair line and the horizontal crosshair edge of the towel with the horizontal crosshair line. And we're going to be in one of the upper quadrants, and then we can unfold down and we can unfold open. And that will align your ironed creases in your towel or in your bag or whatever you are hooping up with the center of the hoop. Okay? It's also going to help you be straight and things along that lines. So we use those crosshairs all the time. Okay, so let me show you. So here is what it looks like. We're going to open it up, and with Bernina, I don't know about all the other brands, but with Bernina, anytime you open a design, it's always dropped into the middle of your hoop. Okay? So if you open a design, and as long as you don't do any touch and drag or move any of your width or length knobs, the design is going to be centered in the hoop. Okay? So I can open up my 4x4 crosshair. It drops it in the middle of the hoop. That's the first thing that's going to stitch. Then I can add to this design another design. Okay? So I'm just going to add this floral. And that will be the next thing that stitches. So let's make sure. So the first thing that's going to happen is the crosshair directly into the stabilizer. I will put my fabric in place, aligning the center crosshair folds with my fabric to the stitched crosshairs of that, and then I'm ready to stitch my design. Okay? Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense for you. Okay. So clear blue tiles. Let me open mine here. Let me open my Bella box. I have one. Okay. Here's what it looks like. So clear blue tiles has been developed to help you more specifically for quilting and placing quilting designs onto a quilt. Okay? And so you basically have this blue piece of template plastic that is in a has a cutout in it. Okay, that's there. Yeah, Miss Gina, you're funny. I figured most people are gonna have no idea. So what it's designed to do? Oh, let me get my face out of the way here. Is you would take the appropriate size template, okay? The appropriate size template to whatever size you want to quilt. And this is not just quilting Kimberbell quilts. This is for quilting anything. You would place your template in the location, mark your centers, your arrows, and all of that, and then you would hoop, align to your markings, and then stitch. Okay? And then you can rehoop and move across. Miss Sarah, I'll answer your question in 1 second. So in the set of clear blue tiles that will be coming soon, there are 26 different size templates and border files for blocks and borders. Okay? Comes with 2 water-soluble pens, 2 slap bands that are used to hold the quilt rolled up on the sides. Okay? And then there is a user guide. So there are printed instructions that will come inside of here. And there are 372 quilt designs in the USB stick that comes with it. and that's the essential set. So this is going to go up, I believe this goes up to 6 by 10 or something in that particular area. And then there will be 2 expansion sets for larger hoops. I believe 8 by 12 and 9 by 14 are the 2 different expansion sets. So there will be more coming soon about clear blue tiles. Like I said, it is very, very, very new on the project, but it is, if you did get a Bella box from Kimberbell, page 18, one second, of page 18 of this booklet talks about the clear blue tile, okay, and how to use it. So we will be taking or starting to take pre-orders for that set as well, if it does interest you, and I will gladly explain more if we should have more questions. Okay. Yes, so the first stitch, Miss Sarah asked, the first stitch will be in the center of the hoop. So that first grid mark, when you stitch the centering crosshairs on the design, so let me pull that back up here. So yes, so if you open the design, let me get rid of this. This should run right down the center of the hoop, so it should align with all of the center templates, and this will run right down the middle, okay? And then if you open a design, it's going to put a design centered on top of that. So everything, center of this flower would match exactly, not just center of that flower, center of this floral design will match exactly to the middle of that particular hoop, okay? And that'll help keep you aligned as well. Now, the next thing is pinpoint placement, okay? And again, this is specific to Bernina's at the moment, specifically to the Bernina 500, 700, 790, 880, I think, are the 3, 4, 5 machines. Yeah, 880, 790, 700, 590, and the 500. And they need to be plus machines. So pinpoint placement is a feature that we use to help resize, realign designs without needing to go grab any of those angle finders and centering templates and all of that. Basically we pick 2 dots and we align the 2 dots, and that will rotate the design to whatever. So if you don't hoop straight is what the one type of pinpoint gets used for, okay? If using templates and using your hoop grid and all of that, just no thank you. You can use pinpoint, okay? So pinpoint is the icon that you see circled here in red, okay? My 700 machines, you can find it both here as well as a separate button that you can push right on the outside of your machine, okay? You go under the eye and then you can go to pinpoint. There are 2, once you go into pinpoint, you have 2 options. Do you want a grid or do you want to pick your own points, basically? The grid layout works best for linear motifs, things that are symmetrical, that type of thing. The position points as desired, or what we also call free point positioning, is you caught that, Miss Danette. Let's think of it in terms of like lettering. So if I had an all capital word, all my letters would be sitting on the same baseline, right? And if I had a word that had lowercase letters, okay, And like, for example, Amy, A, M, and then the Y goes underneath the baseline, right? So it's not going to work very well, thank you, to use the grid layout because the bottom of the grid is going to be at the bottom of my Y and not the bottom of my A. And I'm going to show it if that just blew your mind right there for you. So let's walk through this. Miss Jane, I will answer your question in one moment. So the grid layout. Select the eye on your machine, choose Pinpoint, and touch the grid icon, okay? The grid icon is going to bring up these 9 options. We have 9 dots that we can choose from. We get to pick 2, okay? And typically, if we are dealing with, am I hooped straight, we're going to choose either 2 vertical or 2 horizontals, okay? I'm going to start now. We're going to click a center, okay, dot. So I'm going to go to the center dot because I want to make sure that the center of this design is in the center of my crosshair or the center of my fabric marking. I'm going to touch that dot. The hoop is going to move to that center. I can use my width or length knobs to move the needle so that it goes down into that appropriate location if it doesn't already, okay? Get your needle to go down into the center marking of your item that you have in the hoop. Once you have that there, you're going to touch the word set that's on the screen, okay? So imagine the moment you touch set, you just took a hammer and you just nailed the center of that design down, okay? Because the next thing that we're going to do is that center will turn yellow when you've set it, okay? The next thing that's going to happen is we're going to touch the dot to the right. And so now if I go to, that center is nailed in place, and now I'm going to move the design and it's going to pivot along that nailed in first mark, okay? Now, because I'm going left to right in terms of choosing my options, I only want to touch the lower knob, my stitch length knob, to move the design up and down, okay, right? Because I can't move the design left and right if I've nailed the center in place, correct? Because if you nail the center in place and you use your width knob, you're actually going to change the size of your design, okay? Which is great if you're trying to make the design fit within something and you don't have a ruler around to measure, okay? So move the design using your length knob, okay? And it is going, if you have to move a lot, it's going to take a lot of spinning on your knob because that pinpoint placement movement is very small because you're trying to be as exact as possible, okay? And so we're going to turn our knob until that line, that needle goes down into the horizontal line that I have marked on my fabric, okay? Where I'm at and I'm happy, I can hit the word set, and then I have 2 designs, 2 dots with 2 yellow buttons, right? That means that my design is set. You can see that the design is now slightly crooked, okay? Because obviously I hooped crooked. But now when I embroider, it's going to embroider straight, meaning that it will embroider crooked, but when I take my item out of the hoop and hold it up straight, the design will be straight, okay? So the crookedness of the design in the hoop matches the crooked way that the fabric got hooped or placed into the item, okay? So once you have the 2 items set, you can just close out of Pinpoint. You can hit the X in the corner. You could touch the I to close it. There's nothing special that you need to do to get ready to embroider, okay? You've set it, you're done. The only thing you want to do is after you've done Pinpoint, don't move the design, don't change the size of the design. Pinpoint's the last thing you do after you've done all your other editing, okay? Now, if you've made a mistake or you touched the button or something along that lines on that Pinpoint screen when you are open in Pinpoint, you have a icon there that is a butterfly, and you can touch the butterfly, and that will remove everything that you've done and put you back at the beginning to start over. Okay? Pinpoint is way easier if you can see it happening, okay, and do it. Don't be afraid to go try it. So free point positioning works well in here, okay? So remember I told you I use a lot of free point positioning when I'm dealing with lettering on the machine, okay, and trying to position lettering, especially if you have striped fabric, okay? And you want to make sure that, because it's very obvious when you're using striped fabric if you don't hoop it straight and then embroider those words so they sit right on a stripe, right? So you would bring up your information and we would touch pinpoint. You can see here, first I chose grid, and I want to show you why grid would not work. Because if I was trying to get, for example, I have a piece of striped fabric and I want this section to sit on the stripe, this is not going to help me figure out where that is. This is up towards the top of the end, the middle of the M. This is way down in no man's land. This is above it. So this grid positioning is not going to help me get this design where I want it to be. Okay? So we choose free point. And we choose one location on the machine and we touch it. Okay? And when you touch it, a little teardrop shaped with a crosshair comes in. Now you may need to zoom in on the machine, on the screen, in order to get really close to make sure that you have really got the exact location marked. Okay? And so we would touch that location, and then you're going to use your width, length knobs, things along that lines to get that mark or that location where the needle is currently at to be touching the line or the location that you want the bottom of my A to sit on. Okay? Once that location is found and my needle is there, I'm going to then hit the word set, and it's going to turn yellow. So again, I have nailed that section down. It's not going to move. And now I'm going to touch a second location using my knob to correctly move it up or down. Okay? If I need to resize this, I would use the width knob and use it to shrink. And then when I was happy with that, I would hit set. Okay? And then I would be ready to embroider. Okay? We'll come back to questions in 1 second. I just want to show you how to zoom in. So again, if I go to pinpoint and I choose free point positioning, it's hard to see here. So the little magnifying glass, I can touch, and then I'm going to touch on screen. If you don't get in the right location, you can touch again. Okay? As long as you don't hit the word set. Once you hit set, if that's not the right location, you need to start over. Okay? And then when you're done, you can zoom out. So if I want to check this one, and then I need to zoom out, and then I'm going to zoom again, I can come over and check another point, and then I can zoom out. Okay? So use your zoom functions to make sure, because out here, yeah, this may look like you've touched the edge, but you've really not got exactly on the edge. Okay? Now, do we have questions here? Yes, free point is the butterfly with the 2 crosshairs that are up there on the screen. So this is free point. Let me clear that. Let me clear this. 1 second. Pinpoint, zoom out. Grid, free point, or position as desired. Depends upon what you look at. And if you can't remember the question mark on the machine, so you can touch the question mark and you can touch the icon, and the machine will tell you what it is. Okay? So on the machine, this is considered position dots as required. In the mastery workbooks and some other education, they call it free point positioning. You are free to put your points wherever you would like. Okay? That's why it's called that. The mastery workbook and the mastery videos that I have cover, I believe Pinpoint is in mastery 3 for embroidery, that I talk about it. If you are in Squeeze the Day in-person class here in a few weeks, we'll cover Pinpoint in person so that you'll get to see it happening. It is something that once you do it and you see it, the light bulb goes off, and you'll never have a problem with Pinpoint again. Okay? I do give you resources in the PowerPoint presentation PDF. There's a link to you can click any one of these and it will take you to that location. There's an Artlink ebook, so it shows you how to use Artlink. The embroidery placement ebook that talks about how to hoop and placing embroidery designs, templates, things along that lines. I went ahead and linked to the embroidery mastery workbook that covers the section on free point and pinpoint placement. Design positioning in machine embroidery is a We All Sew article on it, as well as multi-hooping with pinpoint placement is an Amanda Murphy article on We All Sew. And then there is an article on hooping and placement as well. So those are all options to help you figure out the best way that works for you on getting your embroidery designs into the appropriate locations so that we can embroider them straight in the right orientation and be happy the first try with where it went. All right. Well, I hope that helped. I hope it answered some questions. I hope it didn't open like 10,000 more questions, but we have like 10,000 more times to do virtual breakfast club. So if I've generated more questions, please ask them. I will, if it's an in-depth topic, I will gladly turn it into a breakfast club. You know, I'm always looking for more ideas. All right. So that is what I have for you today. I feel like I talked forever. We are going to be back here for Breakfast Club on the 24th of July, so 2 weeks. And we're going to be covering AccuQuilt, and we're going to be talking about setting triangles. Now, even if you don't own an AccuQuilt, we're still going to talk about setting triangles, what they are, how to cut them, and how they get used in on-point quilts. So it will even benefit you if you don't have AccuQuilt. Okay? Yeah. All right. What? Oh, where'd the crosshairs come from? So, crosshairs. Thank you, Miss Joanne. I almost forgot to answer Miss Jane's question too. Crosshairs are included in some Kimberbell designs. Okay, they're a secondary design that's on your USB sticks. So if you've done any of the fill in the blanks for this year, let's see, the pink ombre cake tea towel, the onesie, the small fry onesie, the sparkle tote, which is the very first one this year, the man bag, the quilted pillow for this month, and I think it's probably part of every fill in the blank design, embroidery design download, or when I copy them to your USB stick. I do know that it's been included on a couple of other design collections from Kimberbell as well. I'm pretty sure it's in the Snarky Onesie collection, or in the Petite Snuggle collection. I believe it's in the Butterfly and Blooms collection, But if you don't have it, just drop me an email and I will gladly share it. Okay? I think it's a great thing, and it can be used in all size hoops. Just because it's 4x4, you don't need a crosshair that goes the entire, length of your hoop. You just need the center. Okay? All right. Well, I hope everybody enjoys their weekend and has a great weekend, and we hope to see you all soon. Thank you, everybody.